education has tipped. It's leveraged to not really, we're not educating, we're training. We're training children to do something. We're leveraging it towards what is going to be monetized as you get older. Less and less of that moral, spiritual, philosophical education is being co-taught at the same time, where they're learning to read and write and do math and what have you and learn to use computers. This other component starts to fall off. In fact, and then over time what's happening? Well, we go to church every Sunday. We're going to let the church take care of it. We're going to let our faith take care of it. We're going to. Sometimes that works. Okay, great. If you're reinforcing that in the home and everybody's on board with the same plan, okay, good. Keep on, drive on with that. But my experience has been that is not the majority. Most folks, especially in this 35 to 45 age group, have not resonated with the old-time religion. It's not intriguing. It's not working for them. So they go into life without a grounding in one aspect of their human development. That's what I've seen. Okay, highly skilled, highly professional folks. Intellectual. They reflect a society that is over-leveraged to the intellect, to the cerebral cortex. And we've talked before about these ideas that our being a human is a balance of two components, that ego identity, that ego self, which is the cerebral cortex. It's our thoughts, it's our intellectual capability, it's our emotions. But then there's the other component, the authentic self, that objective observer, that place that we go to for love and wisdom. Okay. Well, once upon a time, these religions and spiritual traditions, their goal was to open that authentic self portal, to make people, to create a spiritual life where they were able to put the world in context. And there was an effort to balance the ego self and the authentic self. I've got to make a right decision every day. And it was recognized that going to make those right decisions, you can't just rely on what your eyes see and what your ears hear and what this intellect tells you. So we've lost this education, this balanced education. We're no longer developing this other side of ourselves. We're no longer teaching our children how to access the heart. We're not teaching them how to access wisdom. We've replaced wisdom with knowledge. And knowledge is just a step above information. And so much of our education is about information and then how to use the information to create things and do processes. But we're not teaching them, should I do that? When is it appropriate? Do I have the big picture? Do I have the perspective? Do I have the compassionate perspective to use this knowledge and this information in a balanced way? That's not what we're teaching. It's just not there. It's not in the education system. You got to have a balanced ego self. You have to have a balanced and developed and aware ego self. So the ego self, that intellect, can know when it needs to be on and it knows when to step back. And you're able to say, okay, this is no longer the job for the intellect. I need to step back here and listen to the authentic self. It's just creating that range of motion in both parts. There's a very famous quotation from the New Testament, to be in the world but not of the world. Meaning, we live in the world. The intellect, the outer mind, the cerebral cortex, whatever you want to call it, is absolutely necessary to navigate the world. But it's not consistent, it's always in flux, and it's not who we truly are. It's not our true identity. Our education, our enculturation is not informing us and not acknowledging that there's something else. So when you over-identify with the outer mind, on my thoughts and my emotions, that's going to bring us into a constant state of stress, constant state of being off balance. I'm always my anger, I'm always my fear. And today it's one thing, today it's the other, and we're always shifting. And the wind blows and You are every fleeting thought that comes through your mind. Well, that's not who we truly are. But we don't know that so often because we haven't been educated. We haven't been made aware that there is another part of us. You have direct access to it. There is a way, there is a path to directly access this other way of knowing. That is the humanizing part of us. Another great reason why this age group, this audience that I'm kind of focusing on, they're beginning these families. If those parents can make movement, and not everybody in this group is a parent, but if at this stage in life you can start to transform your perspective, connect, make connections with yourself, all these things that we're talking about, make connections with others to something larger than your small version of yourself. Go through the process of developing that perspective. Not only are you able to leverage that in your day-to-day lives, to look at your jobs differently, to look at your career choices, to look at your partner choices, to have really honest, open, loving relationships like you may have never had before. And if you are raising children, then you have a framework to raise your children from.